Welcome back. Yourteamsucks.club. Be sure and like and follow us and comment on this post. We're going to talk about the future of the New England Patriots and make some predictions of what exactly they're going to do because, this is sort of almost unprecedented in the history of the NFL that you've had a dynasty that's won 6 rings that is obviously winding down. You have a quarterback whose contract is up, the GOAT, supposedly the greatest of all time. You have the supposed greatest of all time NFL coach, that has to make some kind of transition here. Does he stay? What do they do with the roster? I'll start with my prediction because I've thought a lot about this. So my take is simple, is I think Brady will leave. I think he's gone. And I think that Belichick will stay one more year. And I think Josh McDaniels will probably stay one more year as well. They'll rebuild and they will try to get back in the playoffs and try to do something without Brady. And I think Brady is going to do the exact opposite. He's going to go somewhere else where he thinks he can win or go deep in the playoffs or possibly win a Super Bowl with a roster without those guys. I think it's come to an end, and I think now everybody's thinking about legacy at this point. What else is there to think about? They all have money. They have 6 championships. The only thing they have left to prove is they could do it without each other, right? And if they care enough about that, which highly competitive people, by the way, do, right? I think that he will go play 1-2 more years, Brady, somewhere else where he thinks he can get a ring. And I think that the Patriots will reboot, get a bunch of free agents, get healthy, re-sign some of their key players on defense, get a couple really good wide receivers, and try to find a quarterback and prove to everybody that it wasn't Brady. That's my take. Jordan, what do you think?
Oh, well, there was a lot there. First off, I think it's really interesting. The first week of the playoff starts. What's all over the news? What's everybody talking about? The Cowboys and Jason Garrett. They're out of the playoffs. They're talking about them more than the teams that are in the playoffs. Now, the Patriots get beat by the Tennessee Titans. A great game. The Patriots should have won that. This is not the Patriots team of old. They did not have ice water in their veins. They did not have that winning killer instinct. That was a winnable game for them. I thought it was over after Tannehill threw that interception. What's everybody talking about now that they're out? The Patriots. We do more talking about teams that aren't in it anymore than the teams that are. But that's just one thing. As far as the organization moving forward, I think everybody is in way too much of a hurry to write them off. They still had a good season. They still made the playoffs. They still won, 11 games. I think their biggest thing that they were missing was wide receivers. Well, newsflash, all the experts are calling this the draft of the wide receiver, expecting as many of 9 wide receivers to go in the first round of this draft. 9 wide receivers never go in the first round of any draft. We see the quarterbacks, the defensive ends, and the linemen move up, which means you get first-round talent wide receivers in the second and the third. It happens every year. Look at DK Metcalf, third-round draft pick, first-round talent, who's supposed to be 7 overall on the big board. And fell. We're going to see a lot of wide receivers fall. There's good tight ends in this draft. I can see New England tooling up here for another run at it. They were good without weapons this year. They just add some pieces in the draft, a couple things in free agency. I could see possibly Antonio Brown trying to come back to that team. I know it might be a long shot, but I can see Kraft, billionaire, smart, swallows his pride, brings him back once this legal situation blows over. I'm not ready to call the Patriots done yet. I think it is quite telling that everybody's talking about them wanting to jump on the board that it's over. As far as them leaving, I think your point about legacy is very true. We know Bill Belichick is a historian of the NFL and cares about his legacy more than anything. I can see that happening. I think he does care about winning one without Tom Brady, cares about the Patriot way and the whole thing. I'm not so sure, based on a relationship with the owner and all, that Belichick isn't the one that tries to go to another team with a lot of talent and tries to win it there instead of Brady, and I don't think it's this year.
George?
I completely disagree. I think the team is done. I think they'll be lucky to be 500 next year.
I agree.
Brady's out. Brady's probably out here in Costa Rica at the beaching himself up, getting some sun. He's definitely going to play next year. All the talks coming. He's coming back somewhere. Where? Who knows? But I don't see New England having anything to reload with. Where's their bright spots? I don't see one bright spot on the team.
That defense.
The defense proved to be old. The defense at the end of the year just kept fading out and getting beat. They couldn't even stop the Miami Dolphins for going 85 yards at the end of the year because they were beat, because they were tired. They were old. That team is completely done. I think Belichick stays around and maybe gets McDaniels to head coach after that. I think Brady's gone, maybe ends up on the Bears or somewhere strange. And I don't see this team even being 500 next year.
I think Brady may go to somewhere like the Colts, right? They got a great offensive line. He won't get beat half to death. And, they have some T.Y. Hilton and a decent defense. They,
got weapons for sure. Yeah.
I could see it. I don't know. The weapons there. They have the tight end. They have T.Y. Hilton. Other than that, they don't have great wide receivers. T.Y. is a little long in the tooth. He'll turn 32 before next season.
But like you said, it's the wide receiver draft, and they can load up a little bit if they know they're going to get him. So I just think it's interesting. I think, Brady said, who knows what the future holds, but I think he has a pretty good idea of what he's going to do.
Well, he said that he's coming back. He says he has a lot to prove still. Who wants to go out on a pick six? I mean, his last pass was a pick six. That's not your legacy.
What is the Dolphins too?
Yeah.
2 games in a row.
Yeah, he ended with a pick six, right?
Yep. And Jordan, what's up?
I don't know. Maybe people are talking about the Colts and him and connection there. I think there could be some dark horse teams. I would love to see him go play with Arians and play for the Bucks. I think there's a lot to like there with OJ Howard. You got Godwin. You got Mike Evans. Not a terrible offensive line. There's some defensive pieces there, and
and he probably won't throw 30 interceptions.
31 and 31.
31. I'm sure it'll be more like 31 and 4 or 5, something like that with Brady. But
that's
like
actually 21. Like 21 and 4, but I don't think 30.
I want to see what he can do with Godwin and Mike Evans. I mean, that would be
weapons.
Mike Evans is an absolute beast, and so we'll see.
Mike Evans got Johnny Manziel drafted in the first round. Think about that.
Yeah, John, terrible. So I think we'll see what happens, but I think Brady's done. His contract's up, and it just so happens the same year his contract's up, he puts his houses up for sale. Come on. I mean, is that a coincidence, right? I was thinking that, if they won the Super Bowl this year, he probably would have retired. But I think he has something left to prove now. I think it's in that guy's DNA to not want to quit ever. But I think he knows that run there is done. And I think he knows that if I go to another team and actually win a Super Bowl with that team, then there's no doubt at all that he had a whole lot to do with that run that they had there, right? And I think it would be a great point. If he went to another team, actually won a Super Bowl with another team without Belichick, then there's no doubt he's the greatest quarterback in the history of the league at that point. I mean, there's very little doubt right now. Right. But he does that. And it's like, what can you say? What's your argument at that point? Right.
Agreed.
And Belichick goes 6-10 without him. And, it's an interesting dynamic that is developed there. So we'll see. All right. That's it. See y'all next time. Like and share and comment.